Hello, good evening, and thank you for your interest in Bubbln. Bubbln is a ChatGPT powered network automation tool. That is, it uses APIs to prompt ChatGPT to generate Ansible codes, which are then used to automate networks. This is my master's degree project at Birmingham City University. In this video, we are going to automate this network of two routers on the left here, which using Bubbln, and this network was developed on the Cisco's modeling labs. That's the Cisco's sandbox, and we are going to provision these interfaces, the two loopback interfaces 0 and 1 on router 1, as well as the G6 interface will be provisioned on router 1, and on router 2 we're going to provision these two loopback interfaces and the G6 interface. The G1 interface on both routers are used for connectivity to our controller. Now the first thing we're going to do is to confirm the configuration that is currently on the routers. Starting with R1, which is router 1, we can say show IP interface brief. We have just the G1 interface that is configured, which is this, and for the protocol, we do not have any protocol configured, so we are going to configure the OSPF protocol on R1. Then on R2, let's see what we currently have there. Show IP interface brief. We also have just the G1 interface currently configured, so we're going to be provisioning G6 interface and the two loopback interface. Let's check what protocol we have configured. Show IP protocol. So again, no protocol is configured. So Bubbln, this is Bubbln to the right here, and we are just going to start up the application by typing bubbln.h. It's already configured on our network, and when it is first initialized, Bubbln introduces itself as a research project and then tells you about its capabilities. So after introducing itself, it then begins the configuration of the router. So right now we already initiated some configurations earlier, which we didn't remove the configuration. So we are just going to say no, so that we can start a fresh configuration on Bubbln. So Bubbln is asking how many routers we want to configure. We have just two routers on the topology, and it begins to ask for information on about the first router, the parameters we want to configure on the first router. And what happens is it gets the parameters that are to be provisioned on the routers, and then use those to generate prompts, which are sent to ChatGPT to generate the codes. So for router 1 now, how many interfaces are to be configured? We want to configure the two loopback interfaces here and the G6 interface, which makes it 3. And protocols, we want to configure just OSPF, that's 1. So OSPF, we'll configure area 1, ID 1, and number of networks to advertise. We want to advertise the network on the G1 interface, the two loopback interfaces, and the G6. So that makes it 4. Now we are going to key in the network addresses to be configured. So let's start with that, which is already configured on the router 1. That's 10.10.20.175/24. Network 2 will be loopback 0, which is 192.168.10.1/24, and loopback 1 will be 192.168.20.1/24, and the third network, the fourth network, will be 192.168.2.0. 2.1/30. Let's make it 2.1 to make the interface configuration much easier. So that's that. Now going into the loopback, into the interface configurations, the first interface we'll be configuring will be loopback 0, which is 10.1, and then we'll go to loopback 1, which is 20.1. Then next will be G6 interface, which is 2.1. Alright, so with that, we're done with router 1. Next, we go into router 2. How many interfaces to be configured? That's 1, 2, and 3. So 3 there. Protocols 1, OSPF routing protocol, area 1, process ID 1, number of networks to advertise, that's G1 interface network, the 2 loopback interface networks, and the network on the G6 interface. That makes it 4. So we start with the G1 interface network to be advertised. That's 10.10.20.176/24. Then next we go to the loopback interface 1, 192.168.70.1/24. Next is .80/24, and then we configure the G6 interface, which is 3.2. Loopback interface 0 would be 70.1. Loopback interface 1 would be 80.1, and G6 interface would be 2.2. So with that, we are done with imputing the parameters, and then Bubbln asks us to validate that the parameters that have been imputed are correct. We check it, they are fine, and then we click on yes, and then the parameters were imputed are used to prompt ChatGPT to generate a playbook. So right now the prompt has been sent out for router 1. All right, so we're waiting for feedback from ChatGPT to generate the playbook that will be used to executed on router 1, and this is out. So we can see OSPF configured with the networks we have imputed. Loopback 0 is also configured with the interface. Loopback 1 is also configured, and interface G6 is configured. The beautiful thing about this is the no shutdown command is also executed, which will help us to enable these interfaces that were administratively shut down. So right now, I think the playbook looks good, it's fine. If it were not to be okay, we will click on no. Please press enter, and then write a prompt for ChatGPT to regenerate the necessary Ansible codes. But this is looking good, it looks fine. So we're just going to execute it, and then let's see how this works on the router. Okay, so Bubbln has logged in successfully. And right now we can see on that OSPF is being configured, and that has happened here. OSPF has been configured. Next is configuration of loopback 0. Let's wait and see that's been done here. Okay, beautiful. Loopback 0 has been configured and is up. Next is loopback 1. That also has been configured and is up as well. Then finally, interface G6 will be configured. This may take a little while because of the no shutdown command that was executed. So good. So that is up and it's up. So let's check show IP interface brief. All right. So these 3 interfaces, which before now were not configured, have now been configured. As we can see, this is what we had before, and this is the final output. Show IP protocol to see what networks were configured. So we can also see that OSPF has been configured here alongside with the networks that we need advertised. Now The playbook for for router 2 has also been generated. We can see that here. OSPF has been is well configured here. Loopback interface 0 configured. The indentations are looking fine. Loopback 1 also configured, and interface G6 configured, and no shutdown command also executed. So let's go into interface G2 here, into the second router R2, and here we execute the playbook. All right, so first Bubbln logs into router 2 successfully. Next, it tries to configure OSPF, as we can see here on the playbook task. All right, so OSPF is configured. Okay, so next is loopback interface 0 is also configured, and then we'll have loopback 1 also configured, and it's up right now. Then finally interface G6 would be configured. Interface G6 will then be configured. Interface G6 is configured now. All right, so, and we can see that OSPF is up. Adjacency has been established between the two routers, and the status is now that OSPF is fully loaded. So we can verify this by typing in show IP routes, and the result shows us here that these loopback interfaces 192.168.10.1 and 192.168.20. We are currently in router 2, which is this router, and we are able to reach these loopback interfaces that are connected to router 2, and they were learned through OSPF, as we can see. All right, so they were learned through OSPF. Now on router 1 as well, we can see show IP route. We can also see that interface loopback 0 and 1, which are connected to router 2, which is .70 and .80, have been learned as well. And we can see that they were learned through 192.168.2.2. So with this, we have been able to show that Bubbln is an effective tool in automating a network. Thank you so much once again for your time. This is really appreciated. All right, bye.